Sci-Fi movie nerds, and welcome to another episode of the Sci-Fi Movie Guy. I've been away for a while, in parts unknown, but I'm back, and we're going to do my review of the movie Wonder Woman. Now, this review is going to have a few spoilers in it, not at the beginning though, so I will put up the spoiler review when I start spoiling this movie, but at the beginning it's going to be just me talking about what I thought of the movie and my new rating on this movie in my new rating system, and then we're going to get into some spoiler stuff so I can get more deep into the movie. So, what did I think of Wonder Woman? I liked it a lot. This movie is the best of the new DC extended universe by far. I think it really killed Man of Steel. I think it killed Batman v Superman, and I think it killed Suicide Squad. Why? Well, first of all, Gal Gadot was incredible. And all these people out there that are saying she's not a great actress, watch Wonder Woman. I felt her pain. I felt her anguish. I felt her excitement. I felt her joy. She had so many layers and levels to her performance in this movie. I was so excited because she really shined in this movie. Chris Pine, not enough credit as an actor, and that's because we see him in a lot of different movies like Star Trek as Captain Kirk, where he doesn't get to portray. But I felt for this character on so many levels when he was talking about the World War and how he was in it and his interactions with Diana. It was amazing. These two lead characters, like, they were co-leads in this movie, and they deserve so much credit. Visually, this movie is absolutely stunning. Patty Jenkins did an amazing job of putting together sets with CGI. It was almost flawless. There was a few places I picked out some of the CGI, but for the most part, this movie was incredibly laid out, and the colors in it were beautiful. Also, the music, the score in this, I'm going to definitely get the score because they knew exactly what notes to put in to make something exciting or to make it dramatic or to make it sincere, and never once did the music take me out of this movie. The supporting cast in this movie, again, it was great. This movie overall, I have very little to say bad about it. So in my new rating system, before I get into spoilers, this movie is a must-see for me. You have to see this movie in the theater. I would want to see it before anybody spoils it for me. It's right up there with some of the best movies that I've seen in a long time. So must-see. Now let's get into spoilers. So spoiler alerts going up. And what I want to say about this movie right off the bat is I was worried, as we all were, about the DC cinematic universe. Now, I'm not 100% convinced that they're going to make it a go from it from here with the Justice League movie and Aquaman and the Batman movie, but this gives me hope. Now, I also have some doubt because I think Patty Jenkins did an amazing thing directing this movie and choosing her cast and having the right script, and she was very picky about it and she took her time making it. At the beginning of this movie, when they're on Themyscira, the island of Amazons, it was such a great start to this movie. And let's go back even a little further when you're in present time at the very first part of this movie where you see Diana Prince is working at the Louvre in Paris, not the Louvre, the Louvre in Paris, with the pyramids, and she's kind of an archaeologist or a historian, and Bruce Wayne delivers her this case with that picture of her and her team from World War One, and it's got a little note saying, maybe someday you'll tell me the real story. And then they go to Diana Prince as a young girl, and she's on the island, and she's watching all the warriors, and she's wanting to be trained. And it was a great lead-in to let you know that this is in the past. It's an origin story. And the little girl they got to play Wonder Woman, or Diana Princess, is really, really good at what she does in this movie. It's cute, it's fun, and then we see her growing up on the island, and then we find out the story about Ares being her father, and in the movie, Connie Nielsen is playing her mother, and Robin Wright plays her aunt, the general of the Warriors. And these two ladies were standout for supporting actresses. I felt their anger, their pain, their leadership. These were two of the best performances in the movie by supporting characters by far, and it's a shame they were only in the first part of the movie, because I would have loved to have seen more of them or more of their story. Now, going into once she decides to leave the island and go fight with men because Chris Pine has convinced her to go back. Well, he didn't even really have to convince her. He just told her the story of what was happening in the world, and her sense of honor and duty was so amazing. But we find out as this movie goes on that Diana Prince was molded from clay, is what they said. But really, it was Ares, the god of war, was her brother, and Zeus was, the creator of all things. So she said, well, Ares must be causing this world war. So she goes out and she says, if I can kill Ares, I can stop the war. And we see it as very naive. And Chris Pine's like, whatever, I'm getting this Amazon to help me. I'll go with whatever she wants. And they go and they leave. And her naivety, I can't even say that word, but you know what I mean. She's very naive. Out in the real world is comedic, it's lovable, and the way that her and Chris Pine and the other characters interact is really cool. It's not forced, it's not contrived, it's natural. And that's what I wanted to see in this movie, because DC hasn't done a very good job of that. When they throw jokes in, they seem forced. And in this movie, they weren't forced. It was just very innocent humor, and it played very well. Now, Chris Pine dies at the end of this movie, but he dies a heroic death. And if I wasn't invested in the relationship between Wonder Woman and what was his character, Steve Trevor, who is Chris Pine's character, if I wasn't invested in the two of them and their relationship and their interactions, it wouldn't have mattered when he died at the end. But I was very, very upset when he died. And the way Gal Gadot portrayed how upset she was, the acting was incredible by her, so it made me even feel more, and I believed it. So that's what this movie did for me. It gave me believable performances, incredible performances, and the supporting characters were really great as well. Like the team that she had put together, we had Samir, Charlie, the Chief. These guys were really cool. I really loved Ewan Bremner, who played Charlie. This was one of those, I'm crazy characters. He does so well. He was a sniper who couldn't shoot a bullet because he was so deep into his own mind and so broken as a character. And we got that and again, we're getting this. And then the Chief, he's saying he's there for the money, but then Diana sees him and he won't accept the money after they save a village. They were so three-dimensional, not just one-dimensional characters. And then you had David Thewlis, who performed as Ares, the god of war. And he plays, at the beginning of this movie, you think he's a good guy because he's one of the English soldiers, and he's helping them get on their track and get out to the front. And so they think that the German general is actually the bad guy, and he's not. And quick note on Dr. Maru, who was played by Elena Ania. She did a really good performance, but again, the villain in this movie was probably the one thing that I didn't like because I wasn't too invested in them. And Ares, because I thought he was a good guy and the reveal didn't come till near the end. Again, I didn't really get that sensation of that how bad he should have been, but it's a very minor point in this movie that I didn't like. So all in all, this movie was the hope that I needed to move forward with the DC universe, and I only hope that Justice League will be as good as this movie. So again, I rated it a must-see. You should go see this in the theaters. So let me know in the comment section below what you thought of Wonder Woman. From all of us here at the Sci-Fi Movie Guy, remember, nerds rule the world.